let me ask you this. Do you believe in the just start?
Yeah, because you do need to just start, because if not, you're already questioning yourself. But yes, if you're not in a regular industry, but also make sure that you actually have, I hate saying this because it sounds so simple, but like good intention, because that's the only way you're going to outlast and outpace people. Because after 10 years, man, sometimes I'm just like, it has taken a toll mentally, even financially, just all the things. It's like, yes, there was such great things. I would never change the last 10 years of my life for anything. But when the struggle gets real, like, what's going to keep you going?
Welcome to More Than the Hype, the podcast where we go beyond the surface, beyond the trends, and straight into real, unfiltered conversations about business. I'm your host, Kristin Taylor. Grab a glass of wine from KT Winery, or water because moisture is important, and let's get into it. Because success is more than just the hype. Because success is more than just the hype.
Janet.
Welcome to More Than the Hype. It's so nice to have you. I feel like we've been talking about this forever, and having you as my first guest is like so exciting.
Honestly, yeah. I was just like, when I heard that you were doing a podcast and I wasn't your first guest, I was a little insulted.
You literally were. And I was like, girl, I haven't recorded it yet. And here you are.
I know, but I need to know the dreams before the execution, like I said.
No.
As your BFF.
Like, the vibe, the vibe of like incomplete thoughts of like, I'm going to do that. And you go like, amazing. What's the details? I'm like, I don't know. I can't with it on this phone call. I'm so excited to have you. Obviously, I know most about you.
Yeah, I think you know me better than anyone else in my life besides the husband.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Kyle can have that title, but I'm pretty close. But for the people, you know, do you want to tell them where you're from? What you've been up to for the last, decade, work-wise. Yeah.
Should I go back to 1994 when I was born, or should I start a little sooner than that?
I mean, it was epic, so up to you. No, let's get a little sooner.
No. So I started JG when I was 19. That has been the core of my story since 2014, which is wild. Now that I just turned 30, it feels like I'm spending a decade of my life building something that we rolled back, because with the rise of consumerism, we're at that peak of consumerism, as you can see on TikTok, with Amazon, all that stuff. And as a product-based business, we did tech accessory, home goods, and we saw the peak of it in COVID, like everyone did, right? Like COVID was I hate saying it was a good time, but it was a great time for businesses because the support was there, the money was there.
100%.
But as with supply and demand, something had to give. There was a surgence of small businesses, but now we're 2 years after the fact, and there has been a decline. Now everyone's just trying to like hold on versus like how can we grow and scale? Because we're not in that period anymore. We are now trying to find equilibrium of the new marketplace with the rise of everything else. So with JG being a business that really created a lot of viral goods, being viral is not all that it cuts out to be, right? So we know that like the back of our hand. The faster you go viral, the less space you have on the market to actually be the main consumer. Because we're in the market where dupes are, like the best.
Dupes are like so fast too.
Amazon, yeah, they're a lot faster. When I launched a product, it went viral. I had a year for it to be my name, to monopolize that, to monetize that. But then now the time period of actually being able to monopolize that got shorter. Because of the rise of TikTok, it was like 3 months before we get knocked off. And I wanted off that hamster wheel.
And I mean, I think it's also interesting because your products aren't products that you just picked up from a marketplace. Like,
I wish.
I think like the best example of this is like the boutique stores we shop at. Like they're going and picking products out from manufacturers.
Exactly.
Like they are not coming up with their own design sketches, whatnot, but you're like actually prototyping. You're actually like going down to like the point of making a CAD. Like you're
the modeling, the CAD, the Pantene
the molds,
colored. Yeah, like do you know how many samples of glassware I have to find the perfect coloring, or even the unicorn, when the rainbow, the electroplating, making sure that didn't feel sticky on your hand. Like those little quality checks that's just not there anymore, because we're all about how fast can something be produced to make it to market, to capitalize on that moment, but not for a lifetime.
And I think it's even more interesting, especially with, some big things are happening this January, government-wise, big shifts, the tariffs in China. And I was thinking about, I was like, I'm so glad that you rolled it back. Because I think consumers don't understand, one, it's become very apparent that people do not understand how tariffs work. We had that conversation because I was like, in high school history, I learned about this thing. I don't think people understand how hard it is as a consumer-facing business for consumers who have a price point max. They have a ceiling and they want it at this certain price, but now, everyone's going like, just make it in America. Amazing. The thing that cost you $15 consumer is going to cost you $33 now. Because now I'm accepting all this extra cost of doing it. And of course it gets passed along to the consumer, right?
Yes, because of our profit margins. We can only give so much. Like, a lot of people want to keep at certain profit margins, or else we can't pay the rent. We can't pay, like, our employees. It doesn't work that way. Yes, tariffs, it's going to be super interesting to see who makes... I'm also now in D2C big time, as in I became a performance marketer more so full-time since I'm making the shift from JG, and I get to oversee 20 different brands, and it's so interesting to see the shift now. I would like to see what brand ends up like still making it in 2025, because who can accept those tariffs? Like, a lot of people saw bonuses getting cut this year because they need to actually buy the inventory before those tariffs hit. And then when I've been talking about the new Meta regulations, the new Meta regulation is on health and supplements, which is 30% of Meta. Is Meta ads has actually gone on a downfall since 2014 privacy's settings, when you can no longer track, because we all want
the
our
iOS
privacy.
update is like how we call that in consumerism. Like, that's like
that's the real one
phrase,
knows.
but it's not the real one. But that's like the time that I think as consumers we understood it. Like,
but we didn't understand the impact of it as a marketer and as a business. We call that like post iOS downfall. It's just like been a free fall because your cost per acquisition, so how you acquire a customer has gotten more expensive because you can no longer track them. People don't want to be tracked, so you don't want like targeted ads. We get that, but do you want to see random? Like, I was getting served like diapers ads.
That's
and,
amazing. Like a poise pad or like
like Pampers, and I'm just like,
great, I don't have a dog. I don't have a kid.
I need it for my dog. Not either. But it's like now you're getting ads that just feel like it's being thrown at a wall, because it is.
It is. And
that's where creative strategy really comes into play now. But again, you can only make so much shifts to accommodate the market demand before we still
there's no lift, right?
Yeah, there's no lift.
No lift, and then also like you lose the authenticity.
You do.
And it's interesting because as marketers, we always talk about find your customer, talk to your customer. Your customer doesn't want to be found anymore.
They don't. And
everyone wants it to be magical, which is really interesting, though, to me, that you moved into performance marketing. And explain what performance marketing is for the people.
It's we're focused on paid social. So performance marketing is anything that actually hits your revenue, that can make an impact and a lift on your revenue. So my main focus is creative strategy for Facebook ads. How do we talk to your consumer now that you can't target them? So what creatives can we craft? Is it an animation? Is it a long, like, high performance video? Is it 15 seconds? What do those first 3 seconds even look like? So like your hook and hold ratio. So I can go really deep in that, but that's overall what performance marketing is anything that hits the revenue and makes an impact on it.
It's like you get paid for that or something. That was great. And then I also realized, like, JG was such an epic... I mean, we were at dinner the other night with women who you'd never met. No. And they were literally describing how... when I was like, back in the day, like, people weren't really rocking with these marble phone cases. She goes, I had one. I was like, I know, you got it
probably
from Janet.
Me, yeah. That was a wild time.
It was a wild time, but now you've transitioned it. And I also feel like on top of the performance marketing, right, it's like you're just such a, like, consumer of what's going on in the world and business and everything, which I know can be really overwhelming.
The word of 2024 is brain rot. I feel that to my core.
Is that the word?
It is. Last year was gaslight. That's why we heard that term so much, being gaslit. This year is brain rot, and I feel it even more because as I'm doing like creative research and finding the strategy for my clients, I have to scroll on TikTok. I have to scroll on Instagram to just make sure that we're all trending where we need to be. But then I feel my dopamine receptors are absolutely fried. There's no question about it.
It's just extreme overwhelm, and it's coming from every place and every device and everyone. And even if you want to not listen, your friend is talking about and what they saw.
Yeah, and you have to listen. It's like how people are connecting. It's like, did you see this? Did you see that? And then all of a sudden comes a big thing like BookTok. BookTok has created a whole new wave shift for Barnes & Noble.
Girl, and talk about a transition. Okay, let's talk about BookTok. Okay, so we're both avid readers.
Very.
How long have you always been an avid reader?
Yeah, since I was young, I would like always aim to read like 100 books a year, and people are always freaked out when I say that. I'm like, it's not that hard when you're reading really good stuff.
When you're reading really good stuff, you're not trying to read War and Peace.
No, that's not the vibe.
I've always been a big reader because my mom's a big reader, and I just think that like totally passes down. I was reading a lot of romance books growing up, which is because my mom had them in the house.
No,
So I was reading Nora Roberts.
I'm laughing because I was reading Nora Roberts at middle school, and I was like,
same.
oh, I was acting too grown. Someone should have took these
I was like,
books.
do I need to fall in love with a Russian ballet dancer? Like
no, the Duke. It's
the Duke, the Duke and I.
It's just low-key inappropriate for the age, but like when you're just looking for an escape.
And I didn't know what they were talking about with that
Low-key
stuff.
me either.
Like I was like,
just
oh,
vibing.
amazing. I don't know what they're saying here, but I'm not even gonna. Google wasn't really a big thing back then, so I just kept pushing.
We had the dial-up, the AOL. I still remember when that came out.
Yeah, same. I will never forget. My mom like took me and my brother up the stairs and was like, "I have something to show you." Well, my mom was had a degree in computer science, so like literally this
She
was
was
her thing.
very excited.
And we hear like the dial-up tone. I can't do that. And like she's like, "I made you emails." We're like.
Oh, okay.
And what is this email?
What does it do?
The fact that like we're so past that now. We're talking
That's what's like breaks my
ChatGPT.
brain.
We're talking
AIs.
Yes, and we are both avid users of AI, which is insane to me. Like just like the progression from Nora Roberts, AOL dial-up to now, and BookTok more than ever has like completely changed the game.
I really do think it created the resurgence of Barnes & Noble. I just love going to Barnes & Noble.
100%. They're
like,
alive
vibes,
still.
The coffee, the just sitting there reading a good book. But BookTok really brought it back. And we're talking about business and revenue.
No, we're talking business and revenue. We're talking about how being an author has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there was this interesting, I think like oblique 15, 20 years where being an author was like, ugh. Good luck. No one's buying crap. They don't care. People aren't reading. And then it got even worse and worse and worse, actually, with TikTok, because our attention spans went down. People didn't want to read anymore.
That's true.
And I don't actually, the crazy part is I don't even know how BookTok started. But I do know how the kids are reading.
It starts like how anything ever started. It started with one person going viral talking about this book. So there's this one girl I follow on BookTok, and it's the way that they put the most provocative screenshot of one page, and all of a sudden you're just like, what's that about? Oh, the authors with the new marketing strategy putting out like a storyline like Put a Finger Down, like they're using trends to capitalize on their book plot, which is such a great way to recapture the attention span that we've already lost, but in a way that makes you want to say keep going. I can't tell you how many times I've picked up a book because of BookTok. Even like Korean dramas. I've been really into Korean dramas because like
we love a K-drama.
We do.
It's funny, neither of us speak Korean. It's really important that you know that.
And no, I accidentally got caught on one this morning, just a thriller. And just because someone did a mashup on TikTok, where it's like the Olivia Rodrigo song that didn't get released. I don't think it did, but it's like I'm a feminist, but I wouldn't mind like a man saving me, and that tune is now still stuck in my head as I.
But like, yeah, like that's just real, and I feel like books are the perfect like amalgamation of how women want to feel.
See, we know some of these characters are red flags. That's not the
point.
We're not focused on the red flags.
My issue is, did you buy a whole city, sell it?
Yes.
Sell out your whole family, become a vampire for me. Like, that's what I want to know.
Not the vampire.
I know. But that's just like so many of the plots. It's like.
I was more on the billionaire. It's like throwing a black card.
Or that too. That too. Hey, I know you're a billionaire and you have this kid and I'm the nanny. It's just like these weird tropes.
The tropes are so real. Thanks to BookTok, I know all the tropes.
Like, okay, so these are just some BookTok stats. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. BookTok has over 240 billion views.
I believe that.
Like billion with a B, y'all. Almost 50% of users have read more books since interacting with BookTok.
Not surprised.
59% of 16 to 25-year-olds says BookTok has created a passion for reading.
Okay.
59%.
That's
so this
high.
is majority.
The age range starts at 16?
16 to 25. And we can talk about that too. I know what you're about to say. Okay. 80% of users in Maine say they're reading more books because of BookTok, compared to less than 40% in more rural kind like areas like Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Alabama. Kindle Unlimited is the most popular choice among BookTok users, with over 38,000 mentions and searches in like the last few months. As someone who has Kindle Unlimited, I believe this.
Same. It's the easy accessibility-ness of it.
100%.
Like, I can finish a book in like 3 hours, but then if I buy a book, then I just bought that book. It's low-key a sunk cost, while Kindle Unlimited has made it easy to just rotate these books out. So if I want to go on a book rot where I read like 5 books in a weekend, I can.
And that's the thing. I love a book rot because I don't feel like I'm wasting away.
I'm absolutely wasting away, but I'm enjoying
you're learning.
it.
Like, you're expanding your brain. You're not just like watching.
We're learning about the tropes. You're absolutely right.
We're learning about those tropes, girl. And every once in a while, you may get a vocabulary word every 400, pages or whatever. But to me, it's just so interesting how BookTok has just changed everything. I also feel like I'm seeing a lot more young entrepreneurs write now. Like, write books. Like, some of my favorite entrepreneurs, Morgan DeBon, Monique Rodriguez from Mayel. Like, these women are writing and launching books. Financial Feminist by her first 100K.
Oh, I have read both of those. Yeah, so good.
So good.
And I honestly wouldn't have discovered financial literacy to this level if I didn't see it on TikTok.
100%.
I felt like I knew my finances until I started like following these girls, and then I was like, oh, I don't know shit. Let me actually tune up my financial literacy a little bit more.
It's so interesting to me, the whole financial literacy conversation on TikTok, because it's so many people trying to invalidate. But you do have to look at the person's background.
Yeah.
For sure. Before you take anyone's advice. Medical, financial, legal.
I mean, you should always do research and be well educated before you really form an opinion.
100%.
We're both like, we know.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
But back to BookTok, because you made that face.
I know. My face is lovely.
So the one thing about BookTok that really sets me off is something you told me, which is...
I went to Barnes & Noble asking for a book, and just a random tidbit that was dropped on me was that Haunting Adeline. If anyone knows about Haunting Adeline, you know. I'm not going to repeat the scene in it because it was like literally 1 or 2 chapters in. It was such... How do I say this? 14-year-olds are reading books that maybe is not the most appropriate. Because in Haunting Adeline, you really find your limits. They do a lot of, like... It's a stalker. Let me just go there because I feel like I'm not giving enough context for it to be alarming. It's a stalker romance. I'm also not about that. We were talking about red flags. Turns out my hard limit is that stalking. Why do you want a guy to stalk you? Why is he waiting outside your home? But it's the fact that 14-year-olds are reading this and going to be idolizing this as a romantic tactic. And I'm over here like...
No, it's terrifying.
It's awful.
Like, what a terrible thing to have in your mind and, like, have it ingrained. I'm not saying ban books. Like, no.
Well, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying maybe not. But hey, that.
Maybe if you see your kid reading something with the word, is it hunting or haunting?
Haunting Adeline, and it's not that. It's also a series. It was just wild to me that this Barnes & Noble person was like, yeah, this is the most requested book by 14-year-olds. I'm like, ma'am.
I do feel like we could use... I like how the movie theaters do it. PG-13.
Oh, yeah.
R,
then
whatever,
that's definitely
whatever.
X-rated.
I like that. I don't think you should ever ban books, but I do think that the kids aren't quite all right. You know what I mean? So, like, maybe we need to do a little something. But that is where I think BookTok takes the turn of, like, you now have... Everyone has access to information.
But that's TikTok in a whole, right?
Totally.
TikTok has been amazing because it has made content consumption easier, but also overwhelming.
Totally.
Also easy access to the wrong kind of information because everyone has a voice, which...
Yay.
We love that. We're not saying... Yeah, I realize how... I'm not saying that's bad, but it's like... what are the purpose of them having a voice, though? I'm starting to realize that ego drives TikTok more than the actual need to inform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of feel it, though. Like, you can feel the creators who just have something to say and really hope people resonate with it.
Those are my creators. But yes,
100%.
You can feel it in the soul. They just want to get this message out there.
Speaking of people doing things they have no business doing in TikTok, I want to talk about Hawktua.
I just recently got caught up again, too.
Okay, so, and like, here's the thing. If you don't know Hawktua, I'm going to give this like really basic example. I am not going to do the sound. I'm not going to do any of that. Hawk Tuah is a creator now. Before she was a drunken girl that got interviewed on the street, which, you know, I have thoughts about if how appropriate that was, but who made a sexual sound on the internet and went like, we're talking viral. We're talking like insane virality. But then she made all these really smart moves afterwards. She got the right representation, did the right collabs, created a podcast, started.
She moved fast.
Talk to ya. She moved so fast, but with such great intention.
Mm-hmm.
And then she did this thing, which is so interesting because I never saw this coming. But she made a meme coin.
I didn't see that coming. So when that news came out, I was so shocked. And
I was confused.
Because I didn't feel like when you're talking about she moved with great intention, what was the intention behind a meme 100%.
Coin? Why was that the next move? Who told her to do that? And
how does that even work, like a meme coin?
Well, okay, I just need to tell you about this coin. If you don't buy stock, if you don't buy crypto, whatever, like Dogecoin is probably the best example for me on this one because
that makes sense.
Doge was so hot. Everyone was like so into it. And then was it Elon Musk?
It was
who tweeted or something, and then all of a sudden it fell like crazy.
It was on SNL. So
SNL, yes.
When Kyle, my husband, brought it up to me, I was a little concerned about investing even in that because I was just like, having a currency that's based on someone's
popularity
and what he says is the most dangerous way to invest.
He's so chaotic.
That just had to be said, but he is. So when everyone's like, oh, he's going to the moon, and I was just like, there's something weird that we're all like putting so much power in this man's hand for your money. That was wild. So when everyone's like on SNL, when it was supposed to go to the moon, he said that it basically didn't matter. And the minute he said that it didn't matter,
everyone divested. Insane. The market.
The movement was so fast.
It's so fast. And I mean, that is why when people are always concerned about political unrest, because like the markets are extremely reactive. And this meme coin is like a perfect example of why you shouldn't just invest in things because your favorite creator did it.
Exactly.
Especially with no financial background. Like I don't believe that is her background, but like just so everyone understands. So her digital coin was called Hawk, which I love, like branding wise. It hit a $490 million market cap after it launched. Then it lost 95% of its value within hours.
And hours.
Like, which is just insane, right? Of course, now there's all these allegations that her team, whoever helped her do this, set her up and like
to be the
dumped.
fall.
They dumped all the stock once everyone bought it and like they sold it all and made just a shit ton of money. Excuse my language, my gosh. But the SEC doesn't care if she didn't know that was bad.
How?
The SEC doesn't care if she didn't know that was illegal. I mean, that's the thing. Does she know? Do people understand SEC, FTC rules? Like,
exactly, and they don't. So that's why, to me, that someone can make a quick buck like that by using that influence in maybe not the best way.
And so, like, I want to talk about that because people always tell you, just start.
My face was so visceral. My reaction was so visceral to that because it's not just about starting, but it's like, what's your intent?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where people just lose all meaning. Like, we have to have a purpose. We have to have an intent. Why did she even start a meme cone? Because everyone else around her wants to make a quick buck. But then that's what it was, just a quick buck. Then you're left with a bunch of people feeling jaded. You no longer have that community that you bought. I don't know if she worked very hard for it because it was virality based.
Yeah.
But that also shows how quick things shift and whether they were smart enough to capitalize on that moment and cash out, literally.
Legitimately cash out. Well, I'm sorry, illegitimately cash out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I love the just start idea in theory. I think there are certain industries. I mean, I'm in a regulated industry, right? Like alcohol beverage is so regulated. Cannabis is regulated.
Exactly.
Anything with trade is regulated. Like, I mean, financial trade, being a doctor, whatever. There are certain industries where just start is not a good idea.
Exactly.
You have to understand what you're getting into. You have to understand the regulations. If you don't know your industry is regulated, that's number one, the first problem. We need to talk through that. Let me ask you this. Assuming someone's not in those industries, do you believe in the just start?
Yes, because it's the quickest way to get over like imposter syndrome and just the fear. I know you have thoughts on imposter syndrome, and I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, because you do need to just start, because if not, you're already questioning yourself. But yes, if you're not in a regular industry, but also make sure that you actually have. I hate saying this because it sounds so simple, but like good intention, because that's the only way you're gonna outlast and outpace people. Because after 10 years, man, sometimes I'm just like, it has taken a toll, like mentally, even financially, just all the things. It's like, yes, there was such great things. I would never change the last 10 years of my life for anything. But when the struggle gets real, like, what's going to keep you going?
That's when that intention comes in. That's when the why.
Yeah, because you can't just be like, I want to make a lot of money. Cool, we all want to make a lot of money. But that thought doesn't warm you when you're 1 foot off a bridge.
I mean, you and I have had some really intense conversations before, and for both of us separately, right? Of like, this is when people quit.
Exactly.
I'm crying on the floor, calling my best friend from across the country, hoping that maybe there's a lifeline of some sort.
And yeah, just even some relatability in this. It's like, when you're calling your best friends, it's like, oh my gosh, this is bad. I don't know what the next step is. I just like when you're the type of person to have like 10 steps planned ahead, it's like, I have no more steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You phone a life.
Literally like, hey, I need to make $400,000. I have 2 days.
Like,
I can't make payroll, or my stuff is stuck on a barge in the South China Sea. Or
that has also happened, but yes.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like crazy stuff. But you have to have a why to pull you through that crap.
Exactly. And a best friend that reminds you why you're doing it. Instead of, I like to flip tables. I fought.
No, what is it you said to me?
Because
burn it down.
Actually, there's like 2 things that I always say. It's like I fought so hard to get a seat at tables I wasn't sure I should be sitting at. Now I just want to flip them, which is not also great. I know
Janet Gwen Love and Hip Hop on this. Boom. That was amazing.
My height is good for something.
Last thing I wanted to really talk about.
What's that?
Is the people who had a why, but their why was super convoluted and really bad and misguided.
Tell us what you really think.
You and I have always talked about how, like, it's not about the achievements, it's about the why. And we really wanted this one achievement. Then we both aged out. Forbes 30 under 30.
Oh.
Like, the list just came out maybe like a couple of weeks ago at this point. And it's so great, right? I have friends on the list who I actually do not think are ever going to fall into this bucket, which is great. But the reality is there is a weird correlation of people who've won Forbes 30 under 30 who are like in prison and for like crazy stuff. Here's just a couple of them to recap. Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos. She got convicted of fraud in connection with her blood testing company because it was so fraudulent. It's insane. The Hulu show is amazing. Sam Benjamin Bankman-Fried, commonly known as SBF, was convicted of fraud and related crimes in November of 2023 for the FTX situation. Caroline Ellison was also convicted of fraud for the bankruptcy of FTX.
Okay.
And then we also have Martin Shkreli. There's the other girl who like embezzled like $10 million from her investors to like buy a house and have a wedding. Just like, and then just like kept raising girl. It was crazy.
That is wild.
And as someone who's raised money, these are the things that terrify me about owning a business, because there must have been like immense pressure just to perform.
There's always an immense pressure.
You got on this list. Everyone's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your money. Well, it's not your money. Like, people take investor money all the time. They don't commit embezzlement and fraud and, you know, sell people fake results for their blood tests. Like, I wonder if sometimes maybe the spotlight creates this ability to, you know, maybe not be the most honest person. Like, it creates a pathway. Most people don't walk down it. but it seems like maybe.
It's the pressure, like you just said, the pressure to achieve. All of a sudden, you have the spotlight. Everyone's watching you for your next move. If you're 30 and 30, and that's the height of your career, quote unquote. Again, that's all like subjective to the person. I don't want to say, oh my gosh, that's the height of your career, but that's what a lot of people see it as.
Yeah.
As like that's the highlight of their life, like being the. We just said how we really wanted to be 30 on 30 for the longest time. And then that's why I'm like, it was so monumental when I became 30. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my last time to really attempt this list. But do I even want to attempt it anymore?
Literally. So the one time I thought about attempting it, y'all, I had aged out by one day. Which is good. I think maybe sometimes it's better not to achieve these fake things we put in front of ourselves, right?
At the end of the day, what does it achieve besides putting more spotlights
on you? It wasn't an achievement.
Exactly.
It's an honor.
And I think that's the difference. Like, the deciding factor is, like, is an honor or achievement? And I think those two gets really mixed up.
I love that. I think that's very real.
We get a lot of things mixed up. Yeah, it's like wearing stress or busy as a badge of honor because you're thinking you're being more productive. It's the same concept. Okay,
that's a great transition. Into like the hype questions I have for you.
I'm ready. Let's go.
You were in business for 10 years. Anthropology. What is the other one I always mess up? Urban Outfitters. One of the best top-rated sellers on Etsy, Amazon. Was it worth the hype?
Yes, I learned so much, and I would never. The only thing I would go back for is the team and culture I built, not the business itself. The business brought great people to me and great humans that I still talk to this day, who is now in different parts of my business, but I wouldn't go back for the product or the hustle because that's not what kept me going. It was the team. It was the people that kept me going when we were 1,000 orders deep and I couldn't see the end of life in sight. And especially with these big, huge wholesale orders, it was like, who was actually going to show up and help me? It was just, yeah, it was great, but it was worth the hype for all the skills I learned and really learning to be self-sufficient and all the skills of trade that I carried into my next transitional phase as actually Kristin called it. She gave me such a great phasing as I'm like, oh, I feel like such a failure because I feel like I couldn't grow this business. But I didn't fail. I just made a transition to something that suited what I was searching for more.
100%. And as your best friend, I think that sounds like a really great way to think through that. I'm proud of you.
Thanks for the mindset. Like, you gave me that perspective last night when I was just like, man, I just feel like I'm failing because when you built a brand that's attached to your name and your identity, for 10 years, like if we're talking about being on 30 under 30, building a business is, we used to joke about it's your baby. But truly...
Speaking of building a business.
Yeah, a spam, actually. But yeah, it's just like, you don't realize, like, that's great and all, like, being having one of our products that's number one on Amazon, being on Etsy for so long, it's like all these achievements, but it's like, then all of a sudden there's another platform that you have to be number one on. There's yet another place to sell. It freaking never stopped.
What would you say was one investment you made in yourself in the last 10 years that was worth the hype? It could be anything. It could be getting massages. It could be red light therapy. It could be book reading. It could be a trip, whatever.
Oh, that's such a great question.
Yeah.
I would say when I started investing in my mental health, like when I actually, it's so cliche because they said millennials are tied to morning routines because, again,
we love a routine, and I love my morning routine too.
Exactly. It's because we grew up so chaotically. Like we grew up in with boomer parents who...
It's crazy. Like, when I go home to visit, I'm like, oh my God, I have so much high cortisol. Like, it's just pumping out of my veins. Where is my red light therapy and Janae Eco music and candle and...
Just, like, the things that reset us and help us find all,
100%.
Like, center. Because we grew up in such a unregulated space, right? As a first gen...
Love that phrase.
I'm a first-gen immigrant, and my gosh, like, I love my mom, but when I think back to... how, like, they did everything to provide for us, but if I had to go back to the environment, I do not think I would have thrived now. I think, but we're not meant to stay in the same spot. We're meant to grow and move forward, and I think that morning routine helped me find my center. Like, I focus on, I know, every time I say this, everyone's always like, I couldn't do that. Great, it's not for you then. But meditate. Sorry, that was really...
No. I want you to go into the routine.
Yeah, like, my routine is, like, I don't always do this, but I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I have my outfits, so I'm doing Pilates the minute I wake up because I do it in my home because I need to be humbled in my home. I do not need to go to a Pilates stop. Girl, I'm not there.
I need to be humbled in my home. That's amazing.
Because I see these Pilates girls on TikTok and they are killing it at the studio. I'm like, cool, let me get there.
They're God's strongest warriors.
They are.
Like, people keep going like, oh, the strong guy. No. I want a Pilates chick to defend me. Macy, go, girl.
Exactly.
Get him.
Her muscles.
Get him.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, dude, it's not about that. But yeah, so I do that. But the reason why I do that is because of Atomic Habit, where it's just like design your environment to make you thrive. Not, if I had to think about getting in a car and driving to a studio, I'm never going to do it. That's already 2 steps more than rolling out, putting on my clothes, and going to my bonus room, which is my gym, then I play Fit with Coco. Then I do that. I'm usually cussing myself out and trying to talk myself out of this workout, but thank God she has a progression ball so I can see how closer I'm getting to the end. Okay. And then roll out. I do my skincare, my face, get ready for the day. I actually never used to get ready for the day. I used to just roll out of bed, look kind of low-key janky, roll onto my calls. But then I realized, wow, I don't even know, like, before this, I was like, I don't even know what my body looks like. I don't even know what I look like on camera. I don't even know what kind of human I look like. So now I make that effort so then I can actually feel better about myself. It's not even for anyone else because I hate when everyone's like, oh, why are you dressed up? You look so good. What are you doing? I'm doing nothing.
I'm just being fabulous.
I'm just being great. That's all you need to know. Great. And then I go meditate at least for 30 minutes if I can, and then journal, just really debrief, review my days, and then knock out a to-do list. Like, get everything out of my brain and then tackle my day.
I love it. What is one book that was worth the hype and one book that was not worth the hype?
That's a good one. We just talked about what avid readers we are. So if I had to talk about the business space, it would be Everything's Figure-Outable by Marie.
That is your book.
Because it's my phrase for life.
It is. And honestly, I still haven't read the book, but the phrase has been so helpful. I know it's really basic, but like, I really sit there and go, everything is figure-outable.
But once you unlock
from you.
That, no, exactly. Actually, all my friends say that's what they learn most from me is because my friend needed a balloon garland, but she didn't want to pay $1,500 because it's not in our budget. If it's in your budget, great. I went on YouTube and figured out how to do an 18-feet balloon garland. Now it's a skill that I can whip out for any party, but it's like little things like that. It's just like it's not that hard if you just like took the time.
Everything is figure-outable.
Exactly.
Okay, what's one book that was not worth the hype?
Okay, there's a huge Joe Dispenza movement because it's for the wellness girlies. I've read off his book, and I think there's some cool themes that you can take away from it, like the universe, like putting out your vibrations to the universe.
Totally.
That, right? I am a little woo-woo, but I think only relying on that is where I pretty much cut it off. There has to be some actionable.
100%.
Like,
the vibes will not vibe you out the whole time. You gotta do something.
Yeah, we can be vibing, but you can't be vibing all the way to the bank. There has to be some action.
100%. The vibes. It's crazy how U.S. Bank and Bank of America don't take vibes as a payment.
My mortgage lender doesn't take vibes either. It's really sucky. No, I hate it too, but you know.
That's real. That's real. And I'm woo-woo, as you know, too. But
But we both know that actions come after the vibes. The vibes get you into the right mindset to, want to take action.
Yes. And also I do think as you take action, maybe the vibes are more likely to help you get to where you're trying to go.
Also that.
Like at the end of it as well, but it can't just be the beginning, middle, and end.
Exactly.
We got to do something.
Just a little bit more.
Janet, it's been so lovely having you. I think it's like a pleasure when you can talk business, when you can talk life, when you can talk anything and everything from hawk to a coin to to market caps and sizes. Actually, let's wrap with one more question. What are you predicting for 2025 from an impact? Let's go from the market opening up to excited to see what happens with CPG to more digital creators creating more companies. And we have Alex Cooper creating Unwell right now, right? In the whole plastic bottle situation. What are you expecting to see, I guess, from the consumer's point of view? Like, what do you think they're going to be looking for? And what do you think is going to be the reaction from the market?
Oh, I love this question because it's literally my job. So I have the perfect answer for
this.
Go
for it.
UGC is definitely dead. Like, as in, having these influencers be the face of products saying, oh, we all seen these products that's like, oh my god, you wouldn't believe it. I just found the best product ever. That's dead in marketing. There's the ROAS on that has been on the decline. I see it further declining because people want real. People want authentic. Because yes, Nara Smith had her run of just like that very, because we were always stimulated by content.
Can you do the Nara Smith voice?
No, I really can't.
This morning, my husband Lucky said he wanted sourdough bread. So I went and fielded the wheat from the field, brought it in, crushed it, and ground it up in my blender. My hand blender. I don't know. I can't do it at all. But I do know.
No, I felt that. I felt that was very on point.
Thank you. I mean, she got me making sourdough, so.
Are you making sunscreen from scratch too?
No, I don't believe in that one. Give me my Black Girl sunscreen every day.
No.
But anyway, sorry.
No,
but
you're totally fine. So I see the decline of that because people do want more genuine. I actually don't think that it's going to be a rise of anything but a reset. As in, marketing is a cycle. Even with the trends that we've seen as like with the boot cut coming back, like all that, trends come in cycles, so does marketing. People want real and authentic. A lot of people are saying creative volume is going to be the next thing next year because creative quality was this year as a performance marketer. Creative volume means like, okay, how much more can we produce? We have one piece of content on TikTok. Now we've got to make sure it's for YouTube Shorts, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. Okay, that's already a creative volume. But like, in what other sense? Or is it actually posting 3 to 5 times a day? That's not realistic. So a lot of people are saying that in that sense, but I really think it's the reset of like Emma Chamberlain when she used to talk to the camera, like it was on FaceTime. Those are the rise. I see those creators coming back.
So, I mean, is it like, are you thinking it's going to be some more like skyscrapering content, right? Which is when, for instance, you shoot a podcast and then you take it and you cut it this way, cut it that way, cut it this way for the different platforms. So it's native? Or are you thinking it's really just like a reapproach?
No, you still definitely need to be native to the platform.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a reapproach. People are still going to do both. The thing is, I don't think it's an either or situation. I think it's an and situation now. It's like, oh, we do this and then what's next?
Wow. Marketing has really just become, without having someone like you on the team, right? A burden.
It is. It's why they usually outsource now. It's like, because everyone wants to do the kitchen sink approach because no one knows what works anymore. Meta really did. Meta was the one producing. I actually have some clients who 80% of the revenue still comes, like prospecting still comes from Meta. That's 80%. They do like 8 figures, so I think they're good, but still 80% is high.
So I mean, TikTok. You know, this will come out in January, so
that's a ban.
Unclear the future. It's not looking like much has happened.
No, but there is a couple of new apps that are popping up again. Every time there is.
Are you bullish on Lemonade? Like, what are you bullish on?
Lemonade is actually still on TikTok. Like,
it's still theirs.
Creative.
Yeah.
Yep. So that will be both shut down. There's a Neptune app that people are talking about. App loving is actually for the marketers. If your health and subscription, health and supplements needs somewhere to be, people are talking about that, but they're also now banning it as well. So I think that there's going to be just honestly, again, a reset. I don't know how to describe it in any better way of like, people need a cleanse. If we're already hitting the height of overconsumerism, that's going to bleed over into the height of overconsumerism of content as well. So I think the creative volume, as many people say that that's the new thing, I don't think that's true. I think people want less.
You know what my prediction is?
What?
Direct mail.
You always were direct mail,
I'm so bullish on it. I mean, it was like literally the program I helped run at Dish, but I'm so bullish because if you're talking less distractions than ever, it's your mailbox.
It's true, but then what are you doing about the neighborhoods? The new neighborhoods are being built with no, you don't get mail to your house anymore. You get mail in like a little neighborhood Cubbies, and people say they don't go to that more than once a week.
That's fine. Make sure it's not, hey, it's Friday. I mean, I check my mail once a week, but I read it.
That's true. We still sit through and flip. See, but that needs to be a huge thing. So if we're talking, again, resetting.
Reset. So what do you think consumers are going to be looking for other than, because they're not really thinking like,
founder-led
brands.
Founder-led brands have made a resurgence.
100%.
They wanted the connection. We're all like, yeah.
Here I am.
They want the connection. They want the community, but they want realness over anything.
Yeah.
So founders are it again. And if you're talking about building, this is yet another thing a founder has to do now. Show up.
Yet another thing. But the reality is community, once again, back to the why. What is the point if you don't have that? If you're not bullish on that, what's the point? Favorite AI tool?
I still use ChatGPT, but I do use Midjourney too.
Tell the people what Midjourney does.
Oh, Midjourney is AI for creative. So as in, you use ChatGPT to create your prompts or help you create your prompts, and then you put those prompts into Midjourney because, yes, ChatGPT can do some visual diagrams, but Midjourney is next level.
We could have a whole AI conversation,
Yeah,
and we should. We should. Janet, I could literally talk to you all day. I do actually literally talk to you all day. The crazy part is I will still talk to you later today.
I know. That's why I was just like, yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your knowledge. You have so much of it, and you really figured out how to use your brain in ways that other people never dared to in life. So it's such an honor to have you as a best friend. It's an honor to know you. Would you please tell the people where they can find you, where they can connect with you? If someone wants to hire you, I'm pretty sure you have a full roster, but if someone wants to hire you, how they can find you to get on your wait list of 30 million people probably.
Oh my gosh, yes. A little capped out right now, but yes, Instagram may be the best place. Janet.Gwen, because, my email, hello@jgstudio.co.
There you go. I send her stuff all the time, y'all. Go for it.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for having me.
Jan. I love you.
I love you too.
All right, that's it. It's a wrap. That's a wrap for today's episode of More Than the Hype. If you love this conversation, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps way more than you know. Until next time, stay bold, stay real, and keep chasing the hype.